Thank you for watching another episode of the Newland News Network. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the love I can get. Today, I wanted to bring you some information about the current events. As we all know, there's a war being waged in Iran between Israel and the help of the United States. And this has been going on for a few days now. And unfortunately, there's been casualties. United States soldiers have been killed, and that number is just increasing by the hour. And of course, civilians, hospitals, schoolgirls have been killed in their school. Just a lot of terrible things. And it seems as though with all of this happening and these serious situations that have been going on all around the world, that you would have maybe a clear answer as to why we're in war and how long we'll be there. And just simple questions like that should be easily answered. Unfortunately, this administration has been contradicting each other and at times contradicting themselves. It's really been embarrassing what we've had to endure when trying to get information as to what's happening in Iran and why we're there. But first, if you could be so kind to hit the like and subscribe button. I'm just starting out and I could use all the support I can get. I appreciate it. Thank you. And just to show you what I'm talking about, here's a clip of Mark Wayne Mullins speaking to a reporter yesterday, and he gets totally tripped up. Like I said, this administration doesn't have their shit together when it comes to this Iran war, and it's making them look more and more ridiculous by the moment. Watch this shit.
We gave them an opportunity for diplomacy to work, and it didn't.
Is this not a war of choice? The president ran, and did the president not run on not starting a war with Iran?
He ran on two things: ending wars. He's ended 8 of them, and he also ran on keeping America safe. This isn't a war. We haven't declared war. Everybody wants to say
hold on. I want to play the Secretary of Defense, who calls himself the Secretary of War, said today this is a war. Let's watch.
We set the terms of this war from start to finish. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
Are there measures being taken not to eliminate other possible alternatives to leadership?
This is war, and we're taking out the threat. And if you're part of the threat, then you're a target. You know what we'd call not all the arrows, but going after the archers.
You'll concede this is war. You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
War, Secretary Hegseth.
We haven't declared.
Just now, you said this is war.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying. Okay, well that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they've declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been ugly.
This is war.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying. Okay, well that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they've declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been ugly. But we're taking out a regime that's been trying to attack us for quite some time.
But you're not conceding this is war.
We have declared war. So if we haven't declared war, then I don't see that. The president hasn't asked us to declare war yet. But they have declared war on us. We're just simply fighting the threat that's.
So as you can see, that's nothing but a word salad. These people don't have their shit together. Shows you how inept the whole administration is, that they can't even get their story straight. So this Mark Wayne Mullins guy, he's a real piece of cake. Watch this guy. He's going to be on this next clip acting as if he was boots on the ground. He has no type of military history whatsoever. Watch this clip.
And direct on what we could expect. War is ugly. It smells bad, and if anybody's ever been there and been able to smell the war that's happened around you and taste it and feel it in your nostrils and hear it, it's something that you'll never forget. And it's ugly. And fortunately, you have Secretary Hegseth.
What is he talking about? The smell of war, the taste of war. He's not even a soldier. He's never been in the military at all. That's what you call stolen valor. And I hope there's some vets that call him out on that. And here, yet another example of them not knowing what's going on. Watch this clip.
We may have casualties. That often happens in war.
I don't know if this is technically a war.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
This isn't a war. We haven't declared war.
The Secretary of Defense, who calls himself the Secretary of War, said today this is a war.
We set the terms of this war, from start to finish.
Nobody should classify this as war. It is combat operations.
War is hell, and always will be.
Strategic strikes are not war.
I guess the Congress people that you saw in that clip are all convinced that it's not a war, because that would mean that they would have had to have done their job beforehand to authorize this. But it does seem like we're in a war.
Now, I want you to watch this epic flip-flop that Marco Rubio tried to pull over on these reporters yesterday when they were asking him about whether or not this is a war. Are we considering this a war or are we not? And this administration, they think that we're all fools, and they'll try to run things past you and pull the wool over your eyes in a heartbeat. But you have to be quick and catch them like this reporter did. Watch this.
Second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true, because in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that.
Okay, so what Rubio is basically saying that we struck because we knew that Israel was going to strike, and we had to preemptively strike because we knew that we might incur some casualties, I guess, if we didn't strike at the same time. So essentially what he's saying is Israel brought us into this war. We were into this war because of them. They were calling the shots. But then the very next day, they say something totally different. Watch this.
Yesterday you talked about Israel. Mr. Secretary.
Please, guys, I can't hear them all. Yes.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get.
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked a question.
No, were you the one that? Because somebody asked me a question yesterday. Did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that. You from that follow up, and I said no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program, that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made.
We know that's a lie. We just heard him say something different. I just can't believe how foolish they think that we are, that they can just change the narrative that fast and that no one's going to catch on.
The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation.
And after all of that confusion going on within the Republican Party as to whether or not to classify this as a war, there was one person who clearly had a direction on how he wanted to paint things that are going on in Iran. Watch this.
There are people that say, well, the prime minister of Israel dragged Donald Trump into it. And as somebody that's been friends with him over 30 years, nobody drags Donald Trump into anything, number one. But I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's ridiculous. Donald Trump is the strongest leader in the world.
See, everybody? See how that devilish laugh? Netanyahu knows how to play Trump. All he had to do was give him a little bit of flattery. And of course, I'm pretty sure he's got those Epstein files on him too. But thank you again for watching another episode of the Newland News Network. And please like and subscribe. Thank you.